Welcome to the All Things ACC podcast. We're trying a little something new here with this site here. We're going to try to bring a weekly podcast previewing some key games, some recaps, anything else with some of our writers and myself. We're going to start off with our first one though with a big ACC showdown this week. Two top 10 teams, Florida State versus Louisville. Florida State comes in with a 14-2 record against Louisville, but they haven't seen an offense like this that the Cardinals have. They've been putting up about 66 points per game, averaging over 750 yards a game. Granted, they were against two lesser opponents in Charlotte and Syracuse, but they have been impressive. Some of the key notes that coming into the game that we've been looking at is pretty much mostly on the Florida State side, is that DeMarcus Walker will be a key player on the defensive line for the Seminoles, trying to stop the attack of Lamar Jackson and everything. Defensive back, as many have heard, defensive back Derwin James is out for about a couple weeks, 5 to 7 weeks, with an injury. Key guy in the secondary there. So those are two keys. Louisville doesn't have too many injuries, just a few guys there, but certainly their offensive, defensive seem to be fully healthy against the Seminoles. Some of the things that I'm kind of looking for, though, when you're looking at these two matchups, is you can definitely look on both the offensive and defensive side for both ones. So we're going to start with the offensive side for Louisville. That's going to be a key one for the Seminoles. Louisville with Lamar Jackson, as everybody's seen, he's in the Heisman hunt right there already. Over 1,000 yards passing, 318 yards rushing, 13 total touchdowns in 2 games. He's been impressive. He's putting some highlight reels out, but also just in general, with his ability to not only throw and run. They have some key wide receivers and running backs also that you should keep an eye on there. When you're playing against the Cardinals, you have to look at their explosive playability. They've had their wide receivers. They got some size. They're quick. You saw it against Syracuse. They can beat them on the long ball, the first play of the game, and stuff, and get the big chunk of yards there. They've had plays of 55 yards, 72 yards, and 61 yards, and 3 of the receivers are averaging over 20 yards per catch. So definitely the Seminoles will have to be keyed on with that. They actually, against Ole Miss, they gave up about 14 plays of 10 or more yards. So that will be something that you'll definitely want to keep an eye on, if that defense can step up and key on those, limiting the big offensive yardage. Another one is Florida State has to contain Lamar Jackson. We've mentioned before his stats, but he looks comfortable in the pocket, when he just needs a couple of seconds, and he's really been slinging the ball well around the field there. And when the pocket does break down, he has the ability to make guys miss, and pick up yards, pick up first downs with his legs. He's very quick, very athletic. So the defensive ends, when the Florida State is blitzing, and just trying to contain Jackson, they need to get in his space there. Make him want to throw before they can, because he has a tendency of turning the ball over at times. You saw against Syracuse, especially at the end of the half, he can force it. So if the Florida State can create turnovers against Jackson and company there, like they did against Ole Miss, that'll be a key in that one. That was kind of my next point there. Creating turnovers is going to be a key one in this matchup. If like I said, the Seminoles can create turnovers in the passing game with Jackson, force them and everything like that, that would be a huge factor keeping their offensive off the field. If Louisville, they can create turnovers, by fumbles with Dalvin Cook, or allowing their freshman quarterback DeAndre Francois, if they can force him, attack him, blitz him, make him feel uncomfortable, and then make him force plays, Louisville will have a big edge, especially being at home there. Now looking at the Florida State offensive side, You're looking at Dalvin Cook. That's the bread and butter. He's been averaging about 5.1 yards per carry, but he also a key factor to look kind of at is if Louisville's going to apply pressure, you're going to want to. They're going to be looking for Dalvin maybe out of the backfield. Right now, he has 8 receptions for 110 yards. Last year alone, he only had 244 yards, so he's almost got half of what he had last year in just 2 games there. So look for him. Hopefully he can hang on to the ball, not like he did against Ole Miss if he's heading into the end zone there. But look for him in the actually receiving game a little bit. But also, he's going to get a heavy dose against those in the run game. But so you have to. But then when you look at the run game, Louisville has some solid linebackers. They are good. They are quick. They are athletic. They're experienced. They are all-American type kind of players. So that I think is going to be one of the ultimate determining factors on that side of the ball. If those linebackers can stop Dalvin Cook and allow that defensive line to apply pressure, Francois, then Louisville could be coming up with you say upset, but right now it's kind of split, and with Florida State just barely having the edge over right now. But they can definitely get that key win, and especially it being since the Atlantic Division, it will be a key one into that one, and it'll have the leg up as both teams still have to play Clemson, and they haven't looked very impressive so far at the start of the season. For the Florida State offense, also they have some, they have experienced wide receivers and Rudolph and Wilson. They're not the biggest ones on the field, but Louisville can give up yardage in the passing game. Syracuse did it last Friday. They showed that they can move the ball, give up some big plays, even though the Cardinals have been only giving up about 225 yards in the passing game. So if Francois can actually, have some time, hit his receivers, feel more comfortable. I think again that game against Ole Miss, you saw in the first half he wasn't there. He was forcing things, he was figuring things out, but then you saw the real deal that everybody was kind of excited for in the second half of what he can provide to the Seminoles, and that's what makes them so dangerous. Another key guy that I'm going to be looking at in this one is Brandon Ratcliffe for the running back for Louisville. He's only had 13 carries this season as being the lead back, but he has 178 yards, averaging 13.7 yards per carry. That's pretty impressive numbers for the limited amount of times he has, and everybody's gonna be keying on Jackson and what he can do. So the Cardinals, if they want to come away with the win against a defensive line that has had its struggles at times, but it also is one of the top defenses not only in the ACC but in the country. I think he is going to have some kind of factor in this. Take a little bit of pressure off Jackson. Move the chains, goal line stance, some carries if they get there. I think he could be a little silent sleeper pick for a player for the Louisville to look at. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think a lot of people could be seeing this as the determining factor in the Atlantic Division. If Clemson happens to stumble, whoever loses this game is going to have a tough time because they do have to play Clemson and everything, and they do have some other tough games ahead of them. But an early season ACC loss against a team that could definitely take the conference in the Atlantic Division, it's going to be hard to come back from that, and they'll need a lot of help later on. So big game for both if they want a chance to make the college playoffs and win the ACC championship. I think it's going to be a tight one, to be honest with you. I'm thinking, to be honest with you, going with the upset pick. I say upset in quotations there. That I think Louisville come home, rowdy crowd. This place is going to be mobbed, packed, game days there. You see it every year. I think Jackson is telling that defense to bring it on. And Florida State hasn't seen the talent athletic ability that the Cardinals have. They struggled against Ole Miss at times. I think it'll be a close one. Special teams also could come hitting field goals. Who can stop field goals? But I think Louisville wins. I'm going to go with 32-28. Louisville wins in the top 10 ACC showdown. That's going to be our preview for the this week for the FSU Louisville game. Look for more coming up this week as well, as long as also with some recaps when we take a look at week 3 scores, performances, and everything with some of our other riders. But continue to look at All Things ACC, and we'll check you out later. Have a good one.